when the mind wanders because the heart needs air. The tavern was in Bruges, tucked along a quiet canal where the water barely moved and the lantern light painted long, trembling reflections across old stone. Outside, the city felt preserved in amber, cobbled streets, soft bells in the distance, time moving politely instead of urgently. Inside, the fire was low and steady, the kind of fire that doesn't demand attention, but will offer it freely. I wiped the counter slowly, more out of habit than necessity, when the door opened with that familiar, careful hesitation. The traveler stepped in and paused, as many do, unsure whether to stay or turn back. I looked up and smiled. "Good evening," I said gently. "You found your way to a quiet place. What name do you carry, friend?" He hesitated, then answered, "Matthias." I nodded. "A good name. Sit, Matthias. Warm yourself." He settled onto the stool nearest the hearth, eyes drifting, not to the fire, but somewhere beyond it. I noticed that look immediately. I'd seen it countless times. The look of someone who spends a lot of time somewhere else. After a moment, I asked, "You look like someone who travels without moving. Tell me, what's been pulling your thoughts away lately?" Matthias exhaled. "I daydream constantly, at work, at home, even when people are talking to me. I don't mean to leave, but I do. And then I feel guilty for not being here fully." I leaned my forearms on the bar. "Ah," I said softly. "Then, before we go further, let me tell you a small story. Long ago, there was a lighthouse keeper who kept drifting away from his post. Not physically. His hands still trimmed the wicks, still polished the glass, but his mind wandered out to sea with the ships. The villagers called him Careless. One stormy night, a sailor survived wreckage only because he followed a light the keeper had imagined earlier that day. A brighter signal, angled differently, inspired by a daydream of guiding lost souls home. The keeper hadn't been careless. He'd been listening to something deeper than routine. But he also learned this: if he stayed only in his dreams, the light would go out. If he stayed only in duty, it would grow dim. So he learned when to wander and when to return. I met Matthias's eyes. "Daydreams," I said, "are often messages, not mistakes." "Most people think daydreaming means you're unfocused," I continued, "but more often it means your inner world is asking for space. When you drift, reality feels too tight. Expectations are louder than your own voice, or your heart is carrying something that hasn't found words yet. The mind wanders when it's trying to breathe." Matthias nodded slowly. "I don't even notice I've left," he said. "Suddenly I'm somewhere else, imagining different lives, conversations, futures. That's because part of you is exploring possibilities your waking life hasn't given room for yet." At that moment, Alex quietly set a mug near Matthias's elbow, steeped herbs, faintly sweet. Without looking up, Alex murmured, "Some thoughts knock, others sneak out windows." Then he returned to the back room as mysteriously as ever. I smiled. He's not wrong. There's an important distinction, I said. Daydreaming can be a refuge, or it can become a hiding place. If your daydreams leave you feeling curious, inspired, softer toward yourself, then they're offering insight. But if you leave feeling ashamed, disconnected, afraid to return, then they might be shielding a wound that needs tending. Matthias stared into his cup. I think mine do both. Most do, I said gently. Daydreams often show us who we wish we could be, what we're afraid to admit we want, where we feel safest being ourselves. They are rehearsal rooms for the soul. I tapped the bar once lightly, but rehearsals only matter if the curtain eventually rises. I let the fire crackle fill the space. Matthias, I asked, when you daydream, what feeling shows up most? He thought for a long moment. Relief, like I don't have to perform. I nodded. Then your daydreams aren't distractions. They're invitations to build a life where you don't need to escape to feel like yourself. Here's what I've learned, I said. You don't need to stop daydreaming. You need to befriend it. I raised one finger. Let it tell you what drains you, what lights you up, what kind of pace your spirit wants. Then, and this part matters, practice coming back gently. I gestured to the tavern around us. Notice the mug warming in your hands, the sound of the fire, the weight of the moment. You're allowed to visit your inner worlds, but you're also allowed to live here. Matthias smiled faintly. So it's not about choosing one? Never was, I said. It's about learning the rhythm. The night outside Bruges deepened. Canal water dark and patient. Lanterns swayed slightly as if listening. Daydreamers, I said quietly, are not lost. They're often searching for alignment. If your mind wanders, ask it why, not why again. There is wisdom in imagination and grounding in presence. You deserve both. Matthias stood, calmer somehow, like he'd been allowed to stop apologizing for part of himself. He thanked me. I only nodded. The door closed softly behind him. My friend, the lanterns will remain lit and the fire will be warm even when the door closes behind you. Return whenever the road feels heavy or when your heart seeks quiet company. Carry what serves you, leave the rest by the hearth, and know that this place and these words will wait patiently for you. Until then, travel gently and let the night watch over you.